Good afternoon and welcome to the finally Friday edition of the LPN Daily Show. It is September 20th, 2019. I'm Drew Walker, the Community Liaison here at the News. Thank you for joining me. As always, you can find us online at livingstonparishnews.com. $5 a month for a digital subscription, $10 if you want the paper delivered to your mailbox. All of our content is available online: news, sports, lifestyle, entertainment, and business. Again, that's just $5 a month for a digital subscription. Give us a like and follow across social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We also publish these daily shows, both the morning and afternoon editions, along with our long-form podcast, the LPN Weekly, on our website. It is livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We have both audio and video versions for all of those. The audio versions of our long-form podcasts are also available on major podcast apps, including Apple, Google, and Spotify. And with that, we'll take a look at traffic real quick. It is a Friday afternoon, so bear that in mind as we look at traffic. Pretty heavy until you get past Airline. There's still some slowdowns past Sherwood on the interstate headed east, coming into Livingston Parish. It looks like there is an accident on 190. That's Florida Boulevard in Baton Rouge, almost to O'Neill Lane. Not quite at O'Neill, but there is a traffic accident right there. So be aware of that. There is some slowdown there. Further into Livingston Parish, Jubin Road headed north towards 190, of course, is always slow. It looks like it's actually a little bit backed up past the interstate. 190 right there at Jubin, particularly the eastbound side, but also the westbound side, is pretty slow as well. Other hot spots include range between the interstate and 190. There are some slowdowns there. The light at Lockhart and 16, where Lockhart turns into Magnolia Bridge Road, that's 1026 for Lockhart, 64 for Magnolia Bridge. 447 in Walker at 190, slight slowdown there, not quite as bad as it usually is, but it is still a little early, and this is all likely to change shortly. So let's take a look at weather. That's brought to us by brproud.com, our partners at WVLA NBC 33 and WGMB Fox 44. I can tell you it was pretty hot today. Not quite as bad as it has been the last couple of weeks. Right now it says it's about 89 degrees, feels like 94. Tonight, a low of about 70. That's a pretty nice low, and partly cloudy with only a 20% chance of rain. So turning to headlines now. I think I grabbed the wrong one. Here we go. The Livingston Parish school system is planning its own virtual school, according to Superintendent Joe Murphy. There is no timetable on when the school will be established or go live, he said. A virtual school, also called an online school, e-school, or a cyber school, teaches students entirely or primarily online or through the internet. Students enrolled at a virtual school run by the school district would be eligible for other educational services they may need. One of the prompts for this move is to retain Minimum Foundation Program, or MFP, money. That's how the schools are funded from the state. Currently, some of that money is leaving the Livingston Parish school system and going elsewhere. Murphy noted that at this time, $2 million in MFP money that would typically go to the Livingston system is instead following students enrolled in virtual schools in Baton Rouge. There are a couple in Baton Rouge in particular. I would liken it to being in its infancy stage, but I feel as superintendent we need to begin our own virtual school to recapture the MFP money, Murphy said. There's a lot more to this story on our website, and as the superintendent said, it is in its infancy, so we will of course be following this as things develop. An update from a story from Wednesday, boil advisory for some residents in the Walker area that had been in place since that Wednesday breaking news was lifted this morning. So that boil advisory is no longer in effect as of this morning. The advisory was prompted when a subcontractor accidentally burst a water line, causing a decrease in pressure. Some residents were actually without water for a time there. Samples of the water were sent to the Louisiana Department of Health lab for testing, and when the lab gave the all clear, the city was able to lift those advisories. So once again, the advisory, the boil advisory in Walker, It pertained primarily to areas of 447 North up to Lonnie Wascombe Road and all roads that branched off of 447. That has been lifted as of this morning. It is Friday, so that means it's a big night in Livingston Parish football, as two teams travel out of Parish for their first road test of the year, and another two face off against each other in a rivalry game. That rivalry game sees the Hornets of Albany making the short trip to face off against the Springfield Bulldogs in a yearly contest that is highly anticipated in both communities. Meanwhile, both Walker and Live Oak will face their first road test tonight. The Wildcats will look to bounce back after a tough loss to storied Destrehan last week when they meet up with Fontainebleau, while the Eagles will try to improve to 3-0 on the young season. They're headed to West Feliciana. Denham Springs will look to put all the pieces together as the Yellow Jackets seek their first win of the season when the Gators of Sanamaw come to town. So once again, Albany and Springfield face each other tonight. Walker's on the road at Fontainebleau. Live Oak is on the road at West Feliciana. And Denham is hosting Sanamaw. It's going to be a big night for those teams, I'm sure. We also do have, we released our weekly football podcast last night. It is a look back at last week's action as well as a preview of tonight. So if you're out there tailgating, if you're headed out to the games, give it a listen. It is available on major podcast apps, including Apple, Google, and Spotify. It's also on our website if you're at home right now and want to get a little pumped up for the Friday Night Lights. Rob and Will sit down with our publisher, McHugh, and do a great job breaking down the games. You can also follow those guys on Twitter or the LPN page on Twitter to get updates from tonight's games. We will be out covering these. We are also on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. And as always, you can find us online at livingstonparishnews.com. If you would like to listen to the podcast there, it is livingstonparishnews.com/podcasts. So we'll take one more look at weather. That's brought to us by brproud.com, WVLA NBC 33, and WGMB Fox 44. It is still 89 degrees with a feel of about 94. Tonight, a fairly low, 70 degrees, partly cloudy with only a 20% chance of rain. One last look at traffic. And it looks like that wreck that was on 190 just before O'Neill Lane has been cleared off. There is still some backup right there. 1026, that's Jubin Road, is still pretty backed up, as is 190. 190 looks like it's getting even heavier right there at Jubin Road. Other than that, not much has changed. So once again, this is the Livingston Parish News Daily Show for the afternoon of September 20th, 2019. My name is Drew Walker. I'm the community liaison here at the News, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit with me this afternoon.